Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you caught my hatch green chili burrito recipe, you know that I've been exploring this idea of burritos from around the world. Today we're going to go to the African country of Uganda and make a Ugandan Rolex, their version of a burrito. Welcome to Kat's Vegan Kitchen. Let's get started. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to go to Africa, and this summer I'm finally doing it. So I've been having a lot of fun exploring African cooking and cuisine. It's not always super vegan friendly, but the flavors are incredible, and if you work at it, they can be easily veganized. One of my favorite books right now is this book, which I've been working my way through. Today's recipe is an adaptation of a recipe in this cookbook. I'll link it in the description below. The recipe I adapted this from called for eggs, but we don't use eggs in Kat's Vegan Kitchen, so we're going to use tofu. Don't run away if you think you don't like tofu, because it tastes really delicious in this recipe. For this recipe, I would prefer if you used firm silken tofu. My store didn't have that today, so I'm using soft silken tofu, which also works. If you can't find either, using medium firm regular tofu will also work. Saute 3 cloves of garlic in a little bit of avocado or olive oil. When your garlic is fragrant after about 30 seconds, crumble your silken tofu into the saute pan. Remember, tofu doesn't have any flavor on its own, so we're going to season it up. I'm going to salt my tofu, toss it, and salt it again. I'm also going to add a little bit of pepper and a little bit of turmeric and toss it around to coat it. Notice I don't really measure my spices. You just have to taste it to make sure it's salted and peppered to taste. I probably added about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a couple shakes of pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. We're going to let our tofu cook for about 10 to 15 minutes until some of the excess water steams off. We're going to keep an eye on it and stir it occasionally. Cook it uncovered. While my tofu eggs are cooking, I'm going to whip up the quick salsa that I'm going to put on the top of this recipe. If you don't have time to make your own salsa, you can always buy one from the store. Look for one that's sweet and smoky. But this salsa is super easy to whip up. To make up our salsa, you can use a food processor or a high-speed blender. Add in 3 seeded Roma tomatoes, 3 pitted Medjool dates, 1 teaspoon of ancho chili, 3/4 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 a teaspoon of ginger, 1/2 to 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne red pepper, and about 3/4 of a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Pulse it a few times, but ultimately we want this to be pretty smooth, so we're going to process it for about 30 seconds. Our tofu egg's been cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes. Notice how a lot of the water has steamed off and it's firmed up a little bit. We're going to remove it from the pan and set it aside in a bowl. Remove the stems and seeds from 2 fresh jalapenos and saute them in a little bit of olive oil until they are bright green, about 2 to 3 minutes. When your jalapenos are bright green, add in about a 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of diced cherry tomatoes. Stir those around and cook them for about 3 minutes. You'll notice them getting kind of soft. Add in about a 1/4 cup of chopped scallions, stir around, and finally add in a handful or about 30 grams of chopped spinach. We're gonna saute everything in the pan until the spinach is wilted down. Once your vegetables are all added to the saute pan, add a little bit of salt. For the burrito wrap in this recipe, we're using roti. I bought this at my local Indian market in the refrigerator section. You can buy pre-cooked roti in the freezer section, or you can pick it up at an Indian restaurant, or if you can't find either, just use a flatbread. To cook this kind of roti, you just want to heat it in a saute pan covered about 2 to 3 minutes each side till it's nice and puffy and golden brown. This recipe comes together in about 30 minutes, and I gotta be honest, it's like my favorite new recipe. So to put our delicious Ugandan Rolex together, we are going to take a scoop of our tofu eggs, spread that out on our beautiful roti bread, a scoop of our vegetable filling, spread that out on top of our eggs, I'm going to top with a few raw scallions, not too many because they're strong, some shredded carrots, and a dab of that delicious homemade salsa. According to the book, in Uganda, they roll these up like a burrito and wrap them in parchment paper. I find that it's easier to just fold them like a taco and eat them that way. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and if you do, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe so you never miss a recipe. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time on Kat's Vegan Kitchen.